Welcome to 9 Days Till the Mighty Nein. I am Caitlin Tyrrell, one of the resident critters at Temple of Geek, and we are beyond excited for the new Critical Role animated series, The Mighty Nein, which premieres on Prime Video November 19th. Now, we thought that fans, both old and new, could use a little bit of a rundown of the Mighty Nein crew and even how this show is going to be different from The Legend of Vox Machina. Quick disclaimer, I'm a huge Critical Role fan, with Campaign 2 actually being my favorite campaign. It's the one that got me into Critical Role in the first place. So I watched all of Campaign 2. But for fans that join this fandom after Campaign 2 through Campaign 3, Campaign 4, The Legend of Vox Machina, the publishing work, or even just saw the trailer for Mighty Nein and thought, that looks very cool, I wonder what that's about, welcome, we're so glad you're here. For fans like myself who have watched all of Campaign 2, one of the things you'll notice is when I'm doing the rundowns on these characters' backstory, I'm very specifically leaving out key details. This is not an accident. A lot of these details are things that during the campaign came out later and were big reveals, and that may happen in this series. So I want to be very careful and strategic. I don't want to potentially spoil a big surprise or twist for newer fans. I want them to experience with the same shock and surprise and excitement that I did the first time. If you are like me and I skip over something that you are very excited and want to talk more about, don't do it in the comments. We want the comments to be a spoiler-free zone, please. Feel free to hit me up on social media. I'm always excited and happy to talk about Critical Role with new friends. If you are one of the newer fans, please be careful about reading the comments. As much as I hope that everyone takes this disclaimer seriously, I do recognize the world we live in and how social media and YouTube comments work. This is our first episode of 9 Days Till the Mighty Nein. What that means is we're going to talk about the backstory of one of the members of the Mighty Nein. Part of what excites me about this and actually inspired the series is the fact that one of the key differences with the Mighty Nein from Legend of Vox Machina is we're meeting each of the characters individually first. In Legend of Vox Machina, you meet the Vox Machina crew as an already established adventuring party. Here, we'll meet each member individually and get insight to who they are, and then over the course of the series, we'll see the group come together, form the Mighty Nein, and slowly become the very good friends and even found family that we know they will from the campaign. The series will be introducing the characters individually, and that's what we're going to do too. Our first character that we're going to introduce is everyone's favorite shipwrecked sailor, Fjord Stone. Fjord Stone is played by Travis Willingham. Fjord Stone in Campaign 2 is a Half-Orc Warlock. Now, if you're unfamiliar with D&D, a Warlock is a magic user, but unlike a wizard who gets their magic through learning, a sorcerer who innately has it, or a cleric who gets it through a connection with a god, Warlocks gain their magic through a pact or deal they make with a powerful entity. Is the entity good? Can be. Is the entity bad? Also can be. What's Fjord's? We'll find out. If you are familiar with D&D, you might think that Fjord looks a little different than you expect from a half-orc. This is not an accident. So I'm not going to get too much into it. I'll touch on it very briefly, but no, it is on purpose. Getting into Fjord's backstory. To be a little bit of a teaser for all of the Mighty Nein, expect trauma and tragedy kind of throughout. These are not characters that have happy origins. Fjord was an orphan, raised in an orphanage with no family on the Menagerie coast in Port Damali. He actually got his surname Stone from the man who ran the orphanage, and it was very much meant to be taunting because it was stone, as in something that was cast aside. Yikes, rough start. Fjord, along with the other kids at the orphanage, was forced to work and build things, but he also was a big target for a lot of the bullies because he looked different than a lot of other kids. This caused a lot of insecurities for him and is actually a big part of his own body dysmorphia, which, again, is something that is a big character thing, but I'm not going to get into here because I don't want to spoil that. So, one of the things that happens to Fjord later on as he grows up is he's looking for his place in the world. And after working on the docks, he thinks he may have found it. He volunteers to join a ship crew. And although one of his main tormentors also joins, he realizes he was right. He, over the years, rises through the ranks and grows very close with the captain of the ship, who is named Bandren. Bandren is a pillar in Fjord's life and becomes his mentor. However, good things can't seem to last, and tragedy strikes. Fjord not only loses this place he's found in the world, but his beloved captain as well. So, again, I'm not going to get into what that tragedy is. I'm so incredibly sure it'll be touched on, if not fully delved into in the animated series. But what I will tease is from this tragedy, there is a maybe Fjord wakes up and all of a sudden has magic. He doesn't know where it comes from. He doesn't know how he got it. And he doesn't really know how to control it, but he has magic. Magic is not unfamiliar in Exandria, and so he decides maybe a magic school is the right call so that he can learn about his powers and how to control them. And thus begins his journey where he eventually meets up with the Mighty Nein. Now, if Fjord has maybe tickled your fancy, as I'm sure he will, there is more to his story in the Mighty Nein Origins graphic novels, Fjord Stone. This is definitely worth a read. Excellent art, fantastic story. Quick note, I would probably wait until at least after Mighty Nein Season 1. The issues with his insecurities, but also the big tragedy that leaves him alone are huge parts of this, especially the tragedy. And if you don't want that spoiled to you before the show, I'd maybe stick a pin in this. One of the things that's very cool about Fjord is kind of the comparison of him and Grog, where Grog is Travis's first character from Legend of Vox Machina, is very brawn over brains, hit first, maybe ask questions later, and definitely the comic relief. Fjord is much more of a brains over brawn. He's going to try and talk the problem through and try and talk his way out of it first, be it within the Mighty Nein or those outside of it. However, he's not afraid to fight. He can brawl, and he uses both his combat skills and his magic. This leads Fjord to actually becoming kind of one of the faces of the Mighty Nein, maybe negotiating with individuals for jobs or to stop conflict, or even just within the Mighty Nein. That's not to say that comedy is not a big part of it. Inevitably, there will be comedy because this crew is endlessly funny, and, well, it's fun to poke fun at Travis. So, please tune in tomorrow. We have a new episode of 9 Days Till the Mighty Nein, where we will introduce a new character from the Mighty Nein and run down a little bit of their backstory. If you've enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe. Definitely check out Temple of Geek for all of your entertainment geek news. And if you want more Critical Role content, we have a ton of Critical Role interviews that you should definitely check out. And if you want more from me, please follow me on social media. Always happy to chat about Critical Role and, well, a bunch of other nerdy things. Tune in tomorrow for the next installment of 9 Days Till the Mighty Nein.